Hello, and we are live once again with the Modern Mystery School UK and EU podcast and YouTube channel. And today we are joined by the lovely Jackie. Jackie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, very well. I'm very excited to have you on the show again. And this time, I'd love to ask you about your experience at the class called 12 Races. And so, if you could explain a little bit about it, maybe the length of the class, why you decided that you wanted to go to the class, and what your experience was, that would be amazing.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So I don't actually remember how long the class was. I think it was a short one, maybe a few hours, like an evening or something. And I took 12 races because it's a prerequisite for Healers Academy. And I knew that I wanted to go to Healers Academy, so I got my little self on a plane from Spain to London to do all my Healers Academy prerequisites on my way to Toronto. Um,
I
that's
love
why I took
that.
it.
I love
Yeah.
Do you know, and that's actually why I took some of the prereq classes, and didn't I had such resistance to them, especially the sacred geometry one, and I use it every single day. It's hilarious, isn't it? How we end up at these classes. So you took it because it was a prereq. Now you went into that class. Can you tell us a little bit about the class itself in terms of the information you received? How did you feel about receiving it? Has it brought any clarity in your life? Is it of any use?
Yeah. Okay. One thing I will say is that after my Empower Thyself initiation, I had a really big shift in suddenly being interested in fantasy. Um, and I wasn't really that into it before. I sort of liked contemporary, like real life things. And then I had this big shift after Empower Thyself. And so I think sort of as a result of that, learning about 12 races and maybe the unseen things that you don't expect was actually really fun. And my guide made it extra fun. She's into movies, so we watched some movie clips and kind of archetyped the 12 races in the class, which was good.
I love that, and it's so interesting to hear about. You mentioned your guide and how she teaches the class, because there's not many people that can actually teach 12 races in mystery school, and each one of them has their own direct experience with these races, and they put it in. So I would always recommend take the class with different people if you get to audit it, because it's so interesting to hear all their stories. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. I enjoyed it. And I think if if it's someone who's maybe taking the prereq classes just because they're headed to Healers Academy, it's really kind of like a lighter one. It's more fun. It's not, sometimes mystery school classes are a little bit they hit you on multiple levels. So you're maybe not so sure of what exactly is going on in energetically, and you feel a little weird. But 12 races is not really one of those classes, or wasn't for me at least. It felt light and fun and good.
It is. It's a wonderful class. Now, since you've taken the class, has that information or that class influenced you maybe in any way? Do you find that perhaps you're more tolerant or less tolerant? All these different types of things. How do
Mm.
you feel it supports us as healers, really?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's fun for me more than anything to like archetype people based on 12 races. So you can look at someone and say like, "Oh, you're just being a little fairy," or um, you know, that person is such an elf, or things like that. So it's fun to do that way. But as far as tolerance goes, I hadn't really thought about it before, to be honest. But maybe.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? What I agree with you in that is that for me, it helps me understand that there is so much more out there than
Mhm.
we actually first may be perceiving, and not just in people, but kind of in the invisible world, and that brings a whole new layer of magic to the possibilities. When I'm walking through the forest or the woods with the dogs, and that they're looking at something, and I think, "Oh, maybe there's something there."
Yeah, totally. Well, and I'm in Spain, so there's a lot of nice sunny coastline. So I find myself thinking about, it's sort of like my childhood dream come true to be able to walk along and think about mermaids and think about fairies and elves and things.
I mean,
So,
yeah, exactly. And if, everybody always smiles when they start thinking about mermaids, elves, fairy, or the races, and that alone, bringing that energy, that joyful, playful energy into our awareness and into our life. My goodness, it's just what a gift.
yeah, I totally agree.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience of 12 races. And we're going to be joining you again in a moment, and getting your take on astral travel. So thank you,
Okay.
everyone. See you in a mo.